welcome to Don't Whistle at Night. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie. Still waiting for my co-host, Darren Yazzie. Today, our guest of honor had a little family emergency. So today we're going to be going a little open mic session, and our little guest today is Michelle. Where is she at? Right here at the stage. Hello, Michelle.
How are you?
Mm,
Always happy to be here. It's so much fun hanging with you.
awesome, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, how are you? Oh,
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Said Darren.
yes.
Oh,
Nope.
oh, hey, Kurt. How you doing? Oh,
Yeah.
I am doing well, Kurt. How are you?
So it was a lot of fun for those of you guys who missed Dawn on the Outer Realm last Thursday. That was a crazy show with all these crazy stories.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just, you know what I find with you, Dawn? It's just that it never gets boring. It's just like the stories that you talk about are fathomable, unfathomable because I can't believe there's just so much in
Mm.
one place.
Oh man, tell me about it. It's a variety pack. I'll tell you that. Hello, Melody. Hello, Kathy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like just recently, excuse me, I'll be bringing on a guest pretty soon, and she's gonna be sharing more stories of another cryptid called a water serpent. And this water serpent is a giant snake that comes from the last world that was flooded. So this is one of the giant snakes that was around that ecosystem back in the day. And my grandfather's clan is Twittich, so that means bitter water, and
yeah.
the clan animal protector is a giant water snake.
Oh my goodness. That's
Yeah.
that's that's crazy because anything that I've read about, you know, giant water snakes we don't know if this refers to, obviously it's a cryptid of sorts, but I mean there are some that exist, like let's say in South America or South Africa, and on occasion you'll hear of this like monster snake. I wonder if it's the same idea because they're massive. I can't even imagine
Mm,
coming
yeah.
across something that can just, you know, eat a cow.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
They're saying that
yeah.
it disappears into a big mesa. It goes into the mesa, and then I'm thinking that that mesa maybe drains into the San Juan River like a cave.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I know that there's a real popular TV show on right now, and I won't say the name because it's not my show, but there is a water system underneath it,
Mhm,
under their mesa, which isn't very far from yours, maybe like, a few hours, couple of hours, that sort of thing. But
mhm.
there's definitely systems that lead to it.
Basically every mesa. So like the mesa that I come from, that I was raised near in, we get water from inside the mesa. And then there's this
Mhm,
part of the trail where you hike along the mesa. And then
mhm,
there's this little gap entry when the sun is like in the evening time, the sun reflects inside and reflects off the water, and it
mm.
lights up on the inside. And you can hear the water crashing inside the mesa. So like the whole giant mesa is filled with water.
God, that's insane.
It's pretty
That's
amazing.
insane. It
Yeah, and
makes you realize.
we have to crawl into the mesa with the blade, and be just in case if we run into a mountain lion, that's the only way we can defend ourselves, because we have to crawl into the mesa and turn on the water
Mhm,
by hand by a wrench, and we have to
right.
crawl back out the mesa.
Yes,
It's pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
very cool. That is very cool. I see Darren is here.
Oh, hey.
So you guys wanna continue, and I'll go down.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
Or
can
you could
stay
just
I can
ask us questions.
Yeah,
You
I can
can.
do that too if it's
Yeah.
easier. Absolutely. Hello, Darren.
Oh, what's
Hey,
up, man?
what's going on? I kind of ran kind of late. Just
Oh, all
running down
good.
to the chum bucket real quick and get a Red Bull.
Oh, it's all good, it's all good.
Perfect.
How's
Perfect.
plankton? How's plankton doing? Plankton okay?
Yeah, dude. Uh, they got rid of slush puppies, man. Freaking no more slush
Oh man.
puppies, and man, it's gone missing of an era. That thing's been running since I was a kid.
Oh
It's gone
man.
now. So
You're back in Rama, aren't you? You're in Rama right
yeah,
now?
man, I'm actually back. I'm actually back where it all started. I'm on actually ground
Oh man.
zero of where the Bigfoot. I had me and my parents had that Bigfoot encounter out here.
Oh
So
yeah.
Ooh,
yeah,
that'd be
it's
a story worth hearing. Do you want to
Oh
tell it?
yeah.
yeah.
Go for it, Darren. Go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. At the beginning, um, my parents they bought a double wide and they decided to move it out here, and it's an area called Unit Five. Man, I just love this place. This place is freaking just weird, and man, there's never a dull moment out here. Uh, yeah,
I
we
agree.
got off. I think if I remember right, me and my father we got some time off from work. We're working out there in Corpus Christi, Texas. Um, we got some time off, so my father's like, "Well, let's go back. Let's go work on the house, and we'll take care of we'll pull some of the rabbit brush off, and get clear the land out just a bit." Uh, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. Let's go home." And when we got back, my we're one night. I think it might have been like the second night we got back. It was just a normal day, just normal, nothing odd to talk about. Just nothing weird. And back then, the house had no power or power and water and stuff like that. So it was just kind of warm night. So we left the windows open. Uh, Everybody just decided just to turn in, and I laid down too. I went into the back room and crashed out in the bed. My mother later on during the night, my mother she walked in and she was like, she kind of just whispered and kind of like moved my foot, like she's Darren, you know those sounds that they talk about on those Bigfoot shows? I was like, yeah, what about it, mom? And she's like, it's going on right now outside. And like, really? She's like, yeah, it's going on. So I was like, come on, let's go sit outside. We'll listen to it. And sure enough, I put my shoes on, and just as clear it was, man. It was super legit. Like you could just hear one uh, just howling right here next to the gate opening, and uh, we're just like, whoa, like this is really happening. We weren't even scared or nothing. We were just kind of just amazed by the by what was going on, because they talk about Bigfoot out here, but you know, uh, it, as a non-believer, you sit there and you kind of just like doubt it. Like, yeah, these guys are just full of wine and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And but yet, and then we sat there and we're like, wow, this is really just this is Yates on freaking howling right here, and I could do the howl too. I heard it on a couple other podcasts too. And every time I hear it, some person out there in America somewhere, just they do the same howl, and I sit there and it's like, whoa, like okay, like this for real, like
Mm.
this is real. I could do the
Right.
howl too. It was uh, woo, and just doing the same howl, the
Mm.
same cry out there, and we're just sitting outside on a little three-step porch, and we're we were just sitting there talking, and uh, just doing and it's really amazing. It's super amazing just to go through this, but I don't know why it happened to us, but it did. And uh
Mm.
it just makes a firm believer right there. And after a while, I kind of talked to my mom, like, Mom, like, people are gonna think we're crazy, you know. We're just gonna be one of those crazy people talking about lights and Bigfoot, you know. Like, where's your cell phone? And she's like, it's a side here. Like, well, push record on it, so we will have something to to pr- uh to show, you know, like this is what we heard last night, or you know, it back then it was one of those flip phones, and she recorded it. But the bad thing was is the you know, back then you had to pull the battery out, and it's not
Yeah.
like the cell phones they have now. So
Yeah.
we tried to look for it. I asked her like, uh, send it or find it and send me the audio. She did, and then what she was saying was like, yeah, I put it. I know I put it in a little Tupperware box. She found it, and the battery blew up, and the whole phone was no good. So I was off. Yeah, yeah,
So
like
you weren't meant to have it.
yeah, we weren't
Yeah.
meant to share it, but I know
Yeah.
we had it. I know, and
Yeah.
from there,
Yeah.
uh, she after a while she started. My mother, she started to get scared and stuff, you know,
Mhm.
and eventually is like, Mom, we got you that gun. Where's that 9 millimeter?
Mhm.
She's like, yeah. What about it? Like, you're scared. Go grab it. This is raw. This is the reason why we got you
Mhm.
this 9 millimeter. And she's like, okay, well, we'll go inside. And we went inside, and we just had a little lantern, and my mother was using her cell phone as a lamp. Uh, she's like, here. And we went outside, and I asked her, like, I looked at the little magazine, the clip, or whatever you want to call it. I looked at it, I was like, where's the bullets? And she's all, I don't know. And at the time, you know, I was really just, I kind of scolded my mother for doing that. Like, th- what's the purpose of having a gun if there's no bullets, you know? Like, what's the purpose of doing this, you know? And she like we went back inside, and uh, we had a little rat terrier, Dottie. Uh, she was a good dog too, man. I missed that dog. I think about her, you know, just constantly and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I'll see her. You know, I'll meet her at the Rainbow Road.
Yeah.
Um, and she went there. I walked in, and you know, like the dog was scared, and I can just see her little back legs, like doing a little frog, the little frog pushes, trying to crawl underneath the couch. And I was like,
Oh.
oh, yeah. And I was like, oh shit, it's not like the dog. She's scared, you know.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
uh, so
Poor
after that,
baby.
uh,
Yeah.
she handed me the little box of 9 millimeter. And I was sitting there just loading the gun in the dark, and we went back outside. It's like, Mom, let me shoot a round off. Let me shoot one. Let me shoot at it, or let me shoot. I told her. She's like, no, it might be somebody. Like, if it's somebody, what are they doing in the middle of the night in the middle of nowhere? Our nearest neighbor is like 2 miles away. You know, like
Mm.
they- they're scaring you, and you know it's kind of irritated me that people would do stuff like this. You know, they have nothing better to do out here than to crawl around in the trees
Mm.
and try to scare people. You know, like they catch a bullet. I hate to say it, but they catch a bullet. You know, like it's a better sign than don't do it again. You know.
Mhm.
So she's like, no, don't do that. You might hurt
Mhm.
somebody. So all right. And I was like, well, let me shoot a round off in the air. And she's like, no, don't do that. You might hit somebody again. Like, at the time I just got kind of just irritated. I kind of got mad at my mother. Like, what's the point of having a gun? You know? And she's like,
Mm.
all right. So eventually, I just kind of just kneeled. Like, all right, Mom. Like, okay, I'll just be that son. You know?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
eventually, uh,
Well, moms are practical like that, though, Darren.
Yeah, yeah,
Think about
the
everybody
na-
We're
else.
practical.
yeah, yeah,
Don't
Think about
shoot
every else's
people.
kid. Yeah, someone's kid is
yeah,
gonna be right there. Hey,
yeah.
Darren, I had a
The
question.
yeah. What's up?
You ever hear the old Navajo Yaby Chase songs where they're like, "Woo
Yeah,
woo
yeah,
woo"? Woo."
yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds just
yeah.
like that, huh?
Actually, I was just thinking about that last night, and I was thinking about I could see their eyes when they were dancing. When I was a
Mm,
kid, I seen them in the winter, and just a little kid, man, sitting there watching these ABCs dance, and you can see their eyes. They have little dots,
mm.
and when they dance, and man, I was sitting there watching them, and I could see like their eyes moving, like moving back and forth, observing the
Yeah,
crowd, and they'd be dancing in the winter, straight cold winter, without their
sure.
shirts and
Yeah,
just
white paint
wearing
on the face.
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of the
yeah,
purposes they're doing that is asking the winter for healing. Hello, Miss
yeah.
Lally. Yeah, and like a lot of times, Bigfoot is actually the 13th dancer. And there's 12
Oh,
dancers, and then the
uh,
12th dancer is represents us, the human, while
mm,
the 11 dancers represent the holy people that are dancing in sync. Like with the
huh.
weather pattern and all that. Hello, Carolyn. And the and us, we're supposed to be dancing with them, but we get distracted by a butterfly. So you see the clown. He's called the clown, so he represents us human. We get distracted by a butterfly, so he's chasing. So all the women and children like him. He's a cute guy. He
Mm,
represents us, innocent. And then Bigfoot is the 13th one that comes in and joins us. So a lot of times when the ceremony is going through, taking place, he's out there in the outskirts of the tree line watching. Sometimes he's singing.
uh,
Same thing with the Apaches too. Their what they call the sunrise dance.
Mm.
It's like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like their version of the same dance. And then same thing with Bigfoot. He comes along there and he likes to watch and observe. He
Yeah.
likes to watch
Well,
us.
that's good. That's a good. That's
Hmm.
really good to hear that. And I'm pretty sure it's people out there are always kind of curious about the Native American way, and
Hmm.
God bless them, and I know they mean good, I think this is the purpose of just having a podcast like this is we're able to convert with uh people outside our region, like with the Blackfoot. I was really hoping to talk to them, because
Oh
either
yeah.
any other way, I would have never, or people would have never met them, never mixed blood with these people, because they're so far, they're in a different area, region. And uh, and let's give thanks to the podcast is, we'll be able to talk to people like them, and we man, I had so much questions to ask them, man. I was like where'd you guys come,
Oh,
like where'd you guys come from, like
it's all there. Let me wipe your tears from your face. I was kidding. No,
yeah.
he just he, he just had a little family emergency. Everything's
No, no,
okay.
we're
He's
we're all human, and yeah,
yeah.
I was really just hoping, I was really telling everybody when I got back, and like, man, I have a lot of questions. They had a bunch of good stories too, They kind of dropped some information on themselves out there in the public, and I thought that was really good. And
Mm.
man, I had a lot of questions, but I'm pretty
You
sure
have to
they'll
save
be
them.
answered.
Hey, hey,
Yeah,
Darren.
You
yeah,
have to
I
Um,
have it all
save
written
them.
down too.
hey, Darren. Could
Yeah.
you share with us your ghost story? I don't think everyone really heard your ghost story yet when you seen as a child.
Oh yeah. This one I think it was BIA 122. I drive past it every day. Every day you have to go through it, and it's not even that far from this place area,
Hmm.
from where I live right here. And I'm trying to get a hold of the radio station out here. It's just a local radio station. They've been here since like the 70s, and it's just mostly just a Navajo uh, talked radio. So. And even that, you can even just throw a rock from that radio station and hit the road where I seen this. Uh, I don't even
Hmm.
know what to call it. I would call it a ghost. I used to call it a ghost, but after a while, I would. I kind of thought about it more. Like it didn't look human. It didn't have, like how people would say like a typical human look. Arms, legs, pants. Hair. It it wasn't walking. It was floating above the road right there, a little 2 lane road. Me and my mother, she used to work at the Chum Bucket, the local store right here. Uh,
Mhm.
and she was closing it. So we're at my grandmother's house at there at the NHA. Um, she closed the store. She went and picked us up. We all jumped in the my back then. My parents only had like I think it was like a little like a S10 Mazda, red Mazda, small truck. She was driving. My little brother was just a baby, so he was up front. My sisters were probably up front too, and uh, back then it wasn't too uncommon for the kids to jump in the truck beds. It wasn't
Everyone.
scolded against like it is now.
Yeah.
So they had a little camper, and me and my brother, we jumped in the back, and uh, from the road it kind of dips down from one area, maybe about I would like to say maybe quarter mile. It dips down, then goes back up. Uh, we crossed the corner. We drove up, and we all seen it. We all seen this spirit or whatnot. We seen it from a distance, and it was glowing white, blue, dark blue. You know, it was giving off light to the point where you could see the lines on the road. From a distance, and
Wow. That's
y-
crazy.
uh,
Mhm.
like
Oh,
so.
he's freezing up.
It was radiating
Uh-oh.
energy. Like I can't even like.
Oh, you're good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, he
Uh,
froze.
yeah.
It's like, like, what
It was
happened? But
it was
go ahead there. Oh,
yeah. It was giving off energy. It was casting out light, its own energy. And to this day, I can never pinpoint. I never had a word for it. I used to work in the copper mines in Globe, Miami, uh, and they had these slag trucks that used to haul off the bad parts, you will, after the burn off of the copper, and it was just raw energy. That was the only time I sat there and looked at something, and I was like, damn, like that's what it looked like. It was burning energy. It was casting out burning
like
energy,
like a
casting it was
plasma,
energy.
type of deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. If uh like welding arc
yeah.
or flash, just
Mm,
energy spent like that. And
jeez.
it was like I was saying, like it was moving uh like like a towel or a cloth in water. If you're gonna dip a piece of fabric in water and move it around, is moves organic and it flows, and it was moving like that, and it was just
Yeah,
uh
something from another
moving
dimension
around.
type of deal, huh?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. See, that's the point where uh, I always think like is I don't think that was a ghost. I think it was more like
Spirit coming
an
in,
elemental or yeah or a spirit. A wood spirit.
Like
And
looking through heat
vapors.
vapors or water.
yeah,
Things
yeah,
like
yeah. It
that.
was it was really weird. It was strange, but everybody we sat there, me just in the back. I was sitting in the back, and I was looking forward, and I could see it, and everybody's like, "What is that?" Well, and like as a kid, you just look at your mother, like, "Mom,
Tell me what it
what's going
is.
on?"
Explain.
And yeah, like tell me, yeah, yeah, like this is the first time you see something like this, and you don't know who to
Mhm.
ask. So,
Yeah.
and my mom, she was just driving. She's like, "I don't know what that is. I don't know. Like, be quiet." And I don't know why she decided to keep going straight, but she kept going. We just drove down a little. We
Uh-oh.
You all
crossed
right
it
there?
again.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
We just drove right past it. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. We just drove right past it, and to the point where it was maybe just a hand. You can just put your hand out of the vehicle, and you could probably most likely touch it. And we drove right past it when all our heads immediately just followed it, and we looked in the back. And I looked in the back of the camper, and I could see it just floating, like just floating on the road. And
Wow.
it didn't have no limbs or nothing. It was just like
It's
this is just one of the mysteries of life, like that we just go through.
mm, I've
Uh,
seen energy.
and it yeah, like you,
Mm,
that was probably one of the first times I had I had encountered something like this. During and
mm,
after that, even just during my whole life, when
Mm.
I was doing some research on the Blackfoot, you know, and it's another miracle too that I like is I call Danny and he's like, you do your homework, you doing your homework? It's like, yeah. And I was just open energy, and I was just cruising down these roads on my phone through like Google Maps and stuff. Like, whoa, this is where they're talking about. And I seen like the little jailhouse. Like, damn, that jailhouse is pretty much a two-story house. Like what the heck? And uh, all that stuff. And I went back to he had one in Wyoming of a nation out there. And I went there and I was like, well, I used to live in Wyoming too, in Rawlins. And sure enough, like, yeah, I've been there too. I've been to that nation.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh, quick story, Darren. I like to add to your ghost story. Back when I was either in kindergarten or first grade, I was in a school on the Navajo Nation. So, a lot of kids were older and everyone knew that that school was really haunted. So everyone had ghost stories. And one day, we I was making my way to the library because the girls and boys restroom is right across from the library door, right? And all these kids are running out the boys restroom like a grip load, they're passing me. And then all these other
mm,
kids they're going into the restroom, and they're all older and some are smaller. And they're dragging me, let's go. I'm like, oh, what's going on, And we all got into the restroom, and then there's this one girl. She's taller. She's like sixth grade, I think. And she was standing towards the window, and all these kids were behind her, all the way on the wall, all the way to the door, and I was by the door, and I made sure I was close to the exit. and and she's like, "All right, you guys don't get scared now. You guys be quiet." And then she's all, repeat after me. And the lights off. We did the Bloody Mary chant 3 times, and and this
Uh-oh.
yeah, this window is a long
Mm-mm.
rectangle window, and I'm standing by the door, and I can see all the kids, and we can all see just a big window, and all on the window sills. See right here, it's just all light, all lit up like a green LED light was on the edges of all the window,
huh.
like a plasma, like the thing you were saying, the
Mm,
energy, like what other people call it. So it was
Mm.
all going all around there, and then we saw a little girl come to the window. Her face was decayed, like she was dead for a while, with the white dress, looking at all of us. By the time she made her way towards me, I was already flying out the door. So all the kids were
That
yeah.
was it
pouring
for
out.
me. Oh
Wow.
boy.
So
All the
you,
kids were
so yeah.
pouring out. Yeah, so I either would been trampled on, or I floated out with everyone. And all
Oh,
thing
Wow.
I can
So
remember is running to my classroom and hiding underneath the desk because
that was it.
yeah, it was life changing.
Oh,
The
yeah.
I
Bloody
bet
Yeah.
it
So
Mary.
so you
was.
seen Mary, huh? One you would say
Que-
Bloody Mary.
question before we get too far ahead. Carrie Lynn says, I guess it's pertaining to, is it your mother, I'm assuming, and the story with the driving,
Yeah.
where you were driving? Okay. She goes, was she open to talking about that experience later on,
Uh.
or was it never discussed again?
No. It's one of the weird things. Like everybody saw it, and then we talked about it all the way, and we drove back to Rama. And the next day, uh, we just talked about it just for a while. And we sat there and ate like ramen noodles for whatever reason. We had ramen noodles, and we talked about it. And was like, "Mom, what was that?" She's like, "I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was, son." Uh, and that was it. And nobody ever talked about it. And it was only when we came when my parents moved back and to Pine Hill is when I was like, we took a drive. I was like, Mom, do you remember when we seen that ghost on the road? She's like, you know what? I totally forgot about it until you brought that up.
Yeah.
And I asked her, like, uh, what was that? What was it? What do you think it was? She, the next day, um, she told her mother, and come to find out that a boy had rolled his three wheeler
Mm.
in a in a what do you call it, cattle guard, and he rolled it and he got pinned underneath the water and he died
Oh,
about about
Oh,
oh,
the right there next to the uh,
that's
water
terrible.
tank. Yeah, and they had a big sin. They had a medicine man come by and convert
Mm.
the spirit. Like yeah. Traditionally, Navajo's spirits they linger for 3 days, a couple of days or so, and they I'm not sure what they
you
do,
have
but
to bury it before the fourth day or at the fourth day
yeah,
because if it's not buried the fourth day, then he's gonna wander forever.
yep,
Then you
Mm.
yeah,
would have
and
to get another ceremonial songs to escort him to
yeah,
the next phase, if you will.
yeah.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, that's just a little glimpse on the Navajo tradition. And uh,
So what about
asked her again about this.
What was that,
Uh,
Michelle?
no,
and
I
I
was
told,
curious as to the Navajo traditions, and moving, like, when you go to these haunted locations, because you have how many spirits who are obviously roaming around, like this little girl, for example. Was that Bloody Mary or was that a little girl who was there? Like, what are your traditions? Like, let's say you go past the 4 days. I mean, some of these spirits may have been there for decades. So
yeah,
how do you guys handle that? Can you move them on?
Yeah, yeah. There's some medicine men that are around that will assist in songs. They would do they wouldn't smudge. They'd be doing multiple different chants and songs just to escort him away or out. Or they would burn a juniper
Mm,
juniper branch. They would burn
juniper.
the also was the pinon. Just the
Mm,
leaves. They would burn it. The
mhm.
smell. It smells really good, but it helps. For protection. And they would
Yeah.
go to each room, or all over the place. They would be singing and escorting that person out, or they would come face to face and walk out with that thing and tell them to go, or they would come out and say, "There's a little person here, a little girl here." They would even say what tribe they're from.
Wow.
Yeah, or they would
yeah.
say,
Wow.
"There's a doorway open." They would tell you what's going on, like someone opened the doorway here. They'll tell you everything that you would need to know. Or
Mm,
and a lot of times, like the Anasazi ruins, a lot of times we would go in there and we would get chased out by um like a different speaking language. So that's the ancient Anasazi language would be chasing us out. So a lot of times they tell us to stay out of there. The bad spirits are there because they practice bad stuff in the past and it stays there.
mm,
Those are the ones that we're told to avoid and stay away from because they're gonna come and attach and then ruin our family, which
mm.
is going on a lot across the Navajo Nation. So there's different spirits. Like, I was on this trail and I seen a little girl's moccasin join us on the trail, and
Mm.
then my dog's leash got unhooked. I heard the chick, chick, and was like, oh man, this little girl's naughty.
No.
So yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So I have to
Yeah,
avoid some
Saucy.
areas. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And my dog was scared. She was a puppy German Shepherd, and she was scared. Something was
Oh.
there with us. I
yeah,
know someone was there with us, but yeah, there's a lot
Mm,
of ways that we would have to handle it. And, if you're a Christian, you would bring over your priest, your pastor, and
mm,
other prayer warriors,
mhm.
whatever would help
yeah,
you sleep better at night.
Yeah, right.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
but this Navajo medicine, these medicine men, it's real. I can't stress it enough
Mm,
to people, to foreign listeners. They would sit there like, yeah, that's probably bullshit. And like, God bless them. They have their right, they have their opinions. Uh,
mhm,
I was watching something on like Facebook where I think it was like those Brazilian uh, tribal people. They were sitting there, they were singing, and they were doing something. They were doing whatever they were doing in front of a group of white uh, audience, and they're singing, they're chanting, and they're one. I would take it as their medicine man was rubbing red paint on their face, and you can just see like yeah, this is you can just see they're on the face of those guys, those men that were there, the white men, the
Mhm.
colonials and whatnot, and they were just looking like this is stupid. You could just see it on their face, and I was like, why you guys, why are they so blunt? Why are they so
Mhm.
bland? Like, where's their culture? Who are their people?
Mm.
They're just not
No
white. They have to be
passion?
something.
Is that what it felt like?
Yeah, no
No
passion.
passion, no
It's
life,
it.
like, is that what you
Yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah, like no spirit in
just
these
going
these
through the
guys are just
motions.
yeah,
I
just
have a I have a
they come
thing to
from
add.
money, I think.
Yeah, I have a thing to add to that. Like from our culture, the red paint would be a red ochre, a red clay that we would put across. Like from here on
Mm,
up would be red. We make sure it's red, and
mhm,
that way we would be able to travel at night. And when we travel at night, Bigfoot would see it, and he would let us. He wouldn't bother us, and
mhm,
all the bad spirits, the skinwalkers and the ghosts and the hauntings would all see that red paint, the red ochre right here across you, up top, and they would let you pass, and they wouldn't bother you. So you would
mm,
have to put that on at night, and then by day we would put that on to a lot of the warriors because it's also a great sunscreen. And then
right,
Mm,
when we would go against an enemy scout, enemy tribe, different cavalry,
mm,
it would be also a prayer. So whatever bad spirits they had when it come to us after we would kill them or brush
mm.
shoulders with them.
so I guess this
Yeah,
leads to Carrie Lynn's questions of what precautions do you take in handling those situations? I guess this is
Oh,
it pretty much, or
there's a lot of ways because like for the Navajo people, you would either have the right to do that or you're not supposed to do that
mm,
because a lot of times you say, hey, you leave those ghosts alone. You don't go after them because they're gonna come back and make you
mm,
crazy and your family. But they say you can do that if you have the right, if you have the songs, if you have the tools, if you were apprentice from a Hatkali. That's what we
mm,
call a medicine man, shaman in our language. Hatkali means
mhm,
the singer, the chanter. He can bring things to life with the chant, the words from your mouth, because it's how the creator created this whole world. You and I is through his mouth, the chants, the melodies, the remedies, the vibration, all that.
mm,
So he brought this whole world into existence.
mm,
So life and death is
uh,
really at the tongue. That's what we teach to.
mm.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why the
Fascinating.
skinwalkers, when they curse you, it's all the same chanting songs, but it's all evil. It's all for death and evil. And then there's the
Yeah.
light way where the medicine man would sing is all encouraging beauty, life, prosperity, peace. Then the evil one is the opposite, the dark way.
Mhm.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
okay, go ahead there.
yeah, it's just we're just sung into existence. We're we just we're just a song. Everything was brought in, and that sounds nice. Like the creator created us through a song, singing. He's probably still singing right now, and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and that's a
That's why
good thought.
like
Mhm.
That's
yeah,
good.
especially like you gotta be careful what we say, our tongues,
Yeah,
because it goes out there into the universe and the galaxy and it comes back, come back towards us.
yeah, yeah.
Like if
That
you were
that's
say, yeah, like if you're saying, I'm thinking about that person, you're talking about that person calls you, like, oh snap,
yeah,
like, hey, you brought it to existence.
That's
Same
called
thing with
karma,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
manifestation.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of the lessons that was taught too. Is like
Hmm.
you can either bless or curse someone with your mouth. Make
Well,
sure you
words,
choose your words right,
yes,
and
because
that
words technically it's spell casting.
yep,
Yeah, it
and
That's
is
what words are.
it's
spelling, yep,
it's
cursive.
it's in the
So
Bible
all
too. So it's like
Yeah.
bless or curse. The tip of your tongue. The most evil thing is the serpent, the tongue. You got to watch what you say and watch.
Mhm.
what you do,
Yeah,
and that's just good thought, that's just good teaching right there. So,
yeah.
like,
That's why we did
watch what you say,
symbols.
watch what you say.
Yeah, that's why we did a lot of symbols on the warriors, like and on the horses. We would paint symbols that are actually magic spells. And like for our warriors, we would paint what you call it, the rattlesnake symbol on their moccasin. So when they're running, so it'd be like a snake on a sand, how he can just glide over. And then his
Mm.
Mm,
enemies, if they're pursuing him, they won't be able to catch him. So it's like a lot of things, like the white or yellow around the eye. He's like he's successful in raids. There's a lot of symbols and meanings on a lot of things. Like a lot of people that came into our tribe, the Mexicans, the Anglos. They end up staying. They end up being adopted into our tribes. That's like a lot of terms they say. Oh, you got an engine. Well, yeah,
I think it's outstanding.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
yeah,
I
it,
love
it's
that.
it's nice, uh,
No,
it's good
it's
to
an
have a good.
honor.
Yeah,
It's an honor.
even I was sitting there thinking about this earlier today too, like during the week. I was like, oh, I'm I'm pretty sure at the very beginning, we're all came from God, and our spirit came from that 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 being, that all knowing, all loving, and I'm pretty sure we sat there and everybody talked with God, and
Yeah.
like we all had a chance, we all were given a chance to be here, even
Mhm.
right now. It seems like the biblically the the Jesus is coming back, it's the
Mhm.
river Euphrates
Hey,
drying
Darren.
up and all
Hey,
that.
Darren. I got a quick question for you. In your parts of the woods down on the reservation, do you guys have like haunted areas, like from the old days of the battles?
Uh, yeah, we got this place is guarded too. They have Anasazi ruins out here all over scattered. Where my house is, you can go on top of the
Mm.
mesa, and they have pottery shards all over, just all over
Oh,
the side of
a lot of
the,
signs of
the
life, huh?
mesa. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can look and pick them up and stuff like that. And
Uh, put it back.
yeah, but
uh,
this whole area is kind of weird. It's New Mexico, bro. It's
yeah.
505 Land
Uh,
Enchanted. You can either
reason why I was asking because over on our side we have Hushkeh Mesa. So Hushkeh is one of the Navajo chiefs from the western side of Navajo Nation by Page and Kaibito area.
mm,
So my wife descends from him, and my ancestor hid alongside with him. So we hid in all those slot canyons, and also Bigfoot helped protect us. So
yeah.
while we're there, they have this mesa, this really high mesa. It's called Hashkehani Mesa. So a lot of my family members they go hike to the bottom of that mesa and camp. And whenever they do, around 3 in the morning, they said they hear somebody breathing really hard and running. And then as they're looking around, they say they see a flame coming from the distance. Someone's running with a torch. And you can hear him
Uh,
breathing. He's running and where they camp is an old trail. So some of them camped on the left side of the trail, some of them camped on the right side of the trail. They said this guy was coming right towards them. They're quiet, they're freaking out. It's 3 in the morning, and this guy runs right in the middle of them. They seen a torch with the flames, but they couldn't see anybody carrying the torch. He ran right past them. He ran up. They seen the flames zigzagging, running up the mesa, and when he got to the top of the mesa, he's waving his torch around. So what
mm,
he's doing is that he's telling everyone to run. They're coming. Run for your life and hide. So he was a messenger. So the ghost
mm.
of him is still running them trails.
Mm,
Pretty,
Yeah,
yeah.
this,
that's crazy.
yeah, the Rama, we're part of the we're Navajo, but we're not part of the Navajo Nation.
Mm,
So we're our own distant
Hmm.
relative, I guess.
mm,
But this whole area is just really, it's weird, it's strange, and it's beautiful, and it smells nice. And this is my home. This is where This is where I choose to lay my head. These are
mhm.
this areas where all my wild things are. Just lay out in the
Your wild
stars.
things and a whole lot of other everybody's wild things.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
Hey
saying.
and
Darren, hey, hey Darren, let's switch up the gears a little bit. How about
oh yeah,
your exorcism stories that you've seen? I know you had
oh
some.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, my family, my mother on my mother's side, they're fighting uh, Christians. I guess they were fighting for it before. Uh, it was being a Navajo, people kind of strain away. They get mad. They get mad at you for like choosing
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
we worship a white god. Like
Mm.
as a kid, I sat there and
it's
just
just
like
people
I never
that
really thought.
have no
Yeah,
ideas. That's all it is. It's just
yeah, and
people,
I thought about it, and I can remember Billy Graham saying, "It's not a white man's religion; it's a world religion." I was like, that's true, and I'll stand by. I'll stand by it, and I won't stray. Uh,
Mhm.
I made it this far with it, and I'm not going to go anywhere else. But uh, yeah, this whole that my family they've been fighting for it, and my grandmother. Oh man, she was a good lady too. One of the stories she told us too was she told us like I met God. God talked to me once, and we're like really like what is his like what does his voice sound like? Like it sound like a fire, waterfall, and a hurricane, and rain, thunder, and that's what it sound. That's what his voice sounded like.
Yeah, it says that in the Bible.
And
His
it's like
voice sounds like
wow,
many
and
running waters.
like what
Yeah.
did he like? What did he? Yeah, and we asked her like, what did God say? And what she what she told us was God. He pointed over, and my grandmother she looked to the side, and she seems like the best way she could put it was it looked like a television, a TV.
Mm.
And what God said, look, all these, and she showed her some pictures, videos like playing of people out here in this area. It's like all the evil people, like, and God, he kind of got was like, these people were not born this way. They did not choose that. They did not choose to do this. It's the people that mistreated them because they looked weird. They're kind of disfigured. And he told her, treat everybody equally. Everybody's the same. You know, uh, Even the Bible says that God reigns in the just and the unjust, and He loves everybody equally. He pointed, and he's go and tell everybody that treat everybody good. Like
Mhm.
everybody deserves to be greeted the same,
Mm.
and like they did not choose that path. It's the people that made them go that way because of how they were being treated, uh,
Mhm.
which is good. I was like, oh man, well that's true too. Uh, but this exorcism too, man. I wanted to share this with the Blackfoot Nation out there, man. I'll be bagging on it for some time
Oh,
because
it's
I,
all
I
good.
want really wanted to meet with these
We'll
guys.
just oh, it's all good, bro. We'll just leave it for that one. But
but
I'll change gears on you real quick. We're running out of time. Back in the see when I was small, we had this family friend. I'm not gonna say his name. So he was really nice and all, and he was really traditional. And they brought him to the church one time, my Christian family side. And so as the church was going, this guy he started howling like a dog, and he started screaming. And then the preacher he told everyone to close their eyes, so they all did. And he started praying over this guy. And the witnesses that were there, they're assisting the preacher. They said this guy was shifting. He was shifting from a dog to man back and forth, and he was howling and screaming. And then that preacher told the guy, "Open the door." So they opened the door. They said that guy shift back into a dog and ran out. He and
Yeah.
so the front door, there's a mesa, right? Like probably 50 yards away, and at least it's like 50. Well, it's kind of high. So he was up there, and everyone noticed him sitting up there throughout the night. And then when the service was over, the preacher walked up to the mesa, and they saw him both sitting together. And
Hmm.
he came down with him, and that guy had a Navajo blanket. Out of nowhere, he was completely naked. This guy
Uh-huh.
was really nice. They had no idea he was a skinwalker till that night. And when
Wow.
he came back into the church and he was sitting there eating with them, and he's telling the preacher, telling everyone how beautiful the service was, and he heard every single word. He did not miss anything.
Mm.
And he became friends with our family, and they're telling him, you need to change your ways. You're still shape shifting, you're still doing things in the dark. And they're like, he's like, how do you know? He's like, we tracked you. We were tracking you. You coming into the area. We're tracking you around the trailer. We followed you home. And if you're gonna do it again, we're gonna take you out. We've given you so many chances. We're
Mm.
drawing the line here. So so he said, I
Wow.
won't do it again. And my uncle, one of my uncles that has a lot of experience killing these skinwalkers, he followed him all the way to his sweat lodge. And when he left his sweat lodge, my uncle crawled into the sweat lodge, and behind the sweat lodge, he moved the carpet, and there was a doorway that went deeper into the mesa. He said it's a little crawl space. He crawled in there. He's seen areas where he's doing his shape shifting, another room where he's cutting up a human carcass, another room where he's
Ooh.
eating that, cooking that human like soup, in another room where he has his hides, in another room where he has these strange symbols on the wall. These are all crawl spaces. He destroyed everything. He said he destroyed it, and he destroyed his sweat lodge. And he went back towards closer to home, and he found a little spot to hide. And sure enough, he said a few hours went by. He seen him come out his house, go to his sweat lodge, and he seen that his sweat lodge was destroyed. And he shapeshift right there, and he started running towards where my uncle was hiding. And my uncle had a huge rifle waiting there. He said he waited till he got closer and closer. He's laying there in the dark. Walked up to him, boom, killed him
Yeah.
through his heart. Shot through
Wow.
his
Yeah.
heart.
That's
When he fell, his something started dragging him back home. And then the next day, they went to the hospital, and they said that he fell on a huge nail and went through his heart. So a lot of times they will cover up deaths, their own family. It's really
yeah.
common.
That's
That
crazy.
that's
That's crazy
that's
story. My God.
that that's
Yeah.
a whole nother book of worms too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have stories like that out here also with you know relatives combating these skinwalker beings like that, and
Mm.
that could be a whole show in itself. Uh,
Mm.
Everything's just riddled with mysteries, mysteries and rhymes. Uh,
Oh
Mm.
man,
but
we still got a lot of stories to share. uh,
yeah, yeah, that's a good thing for this podcast too. Is we could talk about it. Uh,
mm.
talk about everything. Even the people that are listening. We have you can talk to us. Leave a message. We'll answer it. Uh, it's really good. It's a good platform.
Mm.
Uh,
It's
so
definitely a great place to have open doors, so to speak,
yeah,
so
yeah,
you
open.
can have anybody from anywhere
Yeah,
who wants
yeah,
to share a tale with you guys, and they feel, because not everybody feels safe talking about things like that. I love that all of these different communities are coming forward, and you guys, like you say at the beginning of the show, Darren, like we would not otherwise be in communication about this. And what I've been noticing, because I produce your show, is that there's so many similarities, no matter how far apart you are. The belief system is so similar, and the stories are so similar. Like,
yeah, yeah. It's
you
really
know,
strange. It's really
you
weird.
guys,
Like
yeah.
I love it. It
yeah,
all correlates,
yeah,
and it like tells me that hey, you're not crazy. This
Mhm.
yeah,
thing is going on. You know what I mean? And everyone's either too afraid to admit it, or everyone is really just content in their little world
So
right
what's your
here.
yeah.
advice? Yeah. What's your advice, real quick, since we've got like five
Oh,
minutes, to
uh,
people who would want to
go
come
ahead.
forward? What's your advice?
Oh yeah, just everyone, just have an open mind. Listen to your children. If they seen or heard anything,
That's a big
listen
one.
to them. Yeah, listen to what they
Yeah.
gotta say. And
Mhm.
for us, we don't really have all the answers right now. But one of the best things we can do is live and love nature and go explore. And if you do happen to come across anything cryptids, just take it as a good thing, because there's adventure and there's things out there that we have yet to discover, and this life is full of mystery and wonder. And it's good to still feel like a little kid, be that little
Yeah.
kid again that you once were, and go have fun with it,
Hmm.
and come and join us,
Yep.
share some good stories.
So yeah, share the stories. But
Well said.
yeah,
Well said.
yeah.
We
As
go.
on my side, it's everybody. Every day is new. Every
Mhm.
day we should experience life new every day. And sometimes it gets you see weird stuff. And you go through weird experiences.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sometimes you have to go through it alone, and that to me that's not right. Like God made man, man was alone, and He created someone to help her. Then from there, she created uh, help more. You shouldn't
Mhm.
go through life alone. You shouldn't experience stuff like this alone. That's why you have your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your dad, grandma, grandpa. And
Mhm.
And I
it's
would
good to
think,
talk.
ask them,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like when you say you have like all this family, and ask them, like,
Yeah.
you have
And
all this great oral history.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah. That's why I
yeah,
have a Sony digital recorder. I asked them like beep.
yeah. And uh, you know, just add more. I think this is a great base for why we decided to do a podcast. So people don't have help, people, and they're looking for it.
Mhm.
We're
Oh my
right here,
gosh,
especially when it
yeah.
has to deal. This is one thing
Mhm.
for the podcast is we're here. We're here to help.
Unity.
We're here to listen. Yeah, we're here
Yeah,
to support each other going through this
Yeah.
this mystery of life.
yeah.
Mhm.
Another thing,
And
may I like to add one more thing there, Darren. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is for the Navajo people. If you guys seen something, some strange things out there, let us know. But there's a lot of sheep slaughtering going on the Navajo Nation as we speak. They're finding Bigfoot's tracks and all these sheep's being skinned and no blood. Some of their guts are missing. So, if there's any Navajo people out there listening, you guys can come on and share the stories with us. And we do have some tips and tricks to keep the big guy away from your sheeps, from your
Mm.
livestock.
mm,
So that's what's going
uh,
on right now in the Navajo Nation.
yeah.
But, yep.
Oh,
Uh,
Go ahead.
it's been a great
I want
show.
to do, yeah, I want to do a shout out too to my younger nephew. When I got back to the house, I unloaded some groceries. It was early in the morning. He's like, Darren, Uncle, you can use my room for your podcast if you want to. So
There we are.
I took him up.
Oh,
I took him up on that offer, and
yeah.
I do what I can. So for
Cool.
whatever reason, he wanted me to use his room. So
It's
I
great.
used his room.
Awesome.
I just decided to use his room.
Awesome.
Which is
Yeah.
good and
All
put a
right.
smile on
Hey
her
guys,
face.
hey, tell them we said thank you. And I'm gonna bring us in. We got less than a minute. Thank
All
you,
right.
Darren. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. Thank you, everyone out there, for joining us and taking the time out your busy schedule to listen to some stories and us chit chat. Thank you for tuning in to Don't Whistle at Night. We have been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. You guys have a great one. Thank you.